Okay, so Acts chapter 2, verse 28. Okay, he's continuing. Thou hast made known to me the ways of life, that thou shalt make me full of joy with thy countenance. So he's still continuing with this, telling them what David spoke in the scriptures concerning this fulfillment of prophecy. And then verse 29. Now he's saying, and men and brethren, let me freely speak unto you of the patriarch David, that he is both dead and buried, and his sepulchre is with us unto this day. Right? So he said, let me speak freely about David, the patriarch, the King David, right? He's both dead and buried. And his sepulchre, his tomb, is here to this day. Right? He's dead and buried. He's there in the tomb. His body, his physical human body. So, because you get all these twisted doctrines, but some people think the day that Jesus was resurrected, because there was an earthquake at his death, and then 3 days later there's an earthquake at his resurrection, and the tombs were open and people arose, people were resurrected. But so some people think, well, that was the rapture, that was the first resurrection, that was the, people were resurrected to his likeness. But no, that was not the resurrection of the saints. That was just a massive miracle, which he raised people from the dead at his resurrection. All these people died again. Because this is in Acts right here. He's speaking to these guys, and this is after the resurrection of Jesus, and Jesus already ascended. So he's saying David's here in the tomb, right? So, because if the resurrection of the dead, the rapture, if that was back then, why is David still in the grave? If he would have been resurrected, like have a resurrected body as Jesus had. He's saying, no, he's here. His body's still in the grave, here, right here. We talked before about the resurrection, because every man in his own order. Christ, the first fruits, then those that are his at his coming, and then the end. So there's 3 parts of it. But the first part, that was Jesus only. He's the first fruits of the resurrection to his glorified body. And then we had his coming in the clouds. He's going to call his elect unto him, who that are truly saved. That's the first resurrection. Those that are his at his coming. And then the end. So after the millennium, there's to be another to complete the resurrection. All right. And so where was so? And then verse 30. Therefore, being a prophet, and knowing that God had sworn with an oath to him that of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, he would raise up Christ to sit on his throne. Right? Okay. Right? So he's saying the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh. Remember what I said? Because King David, he was Jesus' great grandfather in the flesh, right? And so it's prophesied that Jesus, the Messiah, he's going to sit on the throne of David, because he's from that genealogy. Jesus, his physical characteristics, his genealogy physically, as God became flesh, he's going to sit on the throne of David, and that's at the millennium in the future. Right? Right, see, the fruit of his loins, he would raise up Christ. So David knew that Christ had to come and be crucified, die, to finish the work of redemption. So he knew that he wasn't going to stay dead. He knew that there's going to be a resurrection, because he was promised that the Messiah was going to come through him, his great grandson, and sit on the throne of David. So death couldn't have held him because he still had work to do physically to sit on the throne and rule for 1,000 years. That's what it's explaining. Right, just to raise up Christ to sit on his throne, physical throne down here on the earth. That leads to me to all these Kingdom Now people. They think, oh, Jesus is on the throne right now. He's King of Kings, the Lord. He's ruling on the earth right now. No, he is not. He's king, and that's his titles. It's going to be manifested physically on the earth. He's always God. He is and was and always will be God. He's from everlasting. That's never going to change. But he's an eternal being, right? So he's always those things. But the physical manifestation of his sitting on David's throne is not yet. That comes after the resurrection, after the rapture, after the wrath of the Lamb. And then he's going to take over the world, and bind Satan for 1,000 years in the bottomless pit, and he's going to rule and reign on David's throne physically on the earth. That is the kingdom. The kingdom is not now. Regardless of what these knuckleheads said, the kingdom now, that's not yet. Okay.